Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hi, how are you? This is Damaris Maria Grossman, Dr. Grossman from Mindfully Integrative Health, and I am talking about the discussion of I am very lucky to be able to go and do a DEXA scan, and I'm going to be going to my local DEXA Fit scan, and I will be getting a bone density exam. So, what is a DEXA scan? And what it is a dual energy absorption that accurates the body. It basically is a way of getting your body's composition, and it's also helps measure the bone density, mineral density within the body. So most of the time, the scan has been used to check for your stage of osteoporosis in the body, and that's the original use. Now it has been shown to have great results for individuals on their movement, on their body's skeletal muscle versus body composition. It is included on a way of seeing if you have any risk of fractures in the body and how your long-term skeletal muscle versus fat and lean body mass are. It's a really amazing test. And I'm quite excited to be able to get one for myself and just to really kind of see, even though I have lost a lot of weight and I've started to improve my health and physical goals, am I really fully healthy or could I be better? And that will give me a gauge of that. So I'm going to be doing a DEXA scan, which is an FDA approved scan that will help with detecting your lean versus your fat versus your bone mass and your visceral fat, which is kind of that belly fat or the fat that surrounds your organs. And this kind of gives you an idea if you have like more morbidity issues or chronic disease like obesity, diabetes, chronic illnesses, cardiac illness, or even peripheral arterial disease. So there's many things that may come up that may show. And, I want to kind of do this testing to get a gauge of where that it is for me today. So, reason why it's pretty cool is that the test is available for everyone to go do on their own. Granted, I would recommend, my clients will be able to get a code called, I'll have that at the end of the show notes, but it's code mindful. And they'll be able to get a discount on the scan. So you can go in and get this kind of scan and just see how you're doing. Now, if you go and get the scan anywhere else in the outside of this company, I think that they have it. It's like around $1,500 insurance is covering, does it charges. And now it's like you can get it because it's cleared for about, I think it's around $400. And then with a discount, it's even cheaper. The only reason I'm very big fan of this is that it's a diagnostic tool. It's a way of finding out where you stand right now. And then are you going to make actionable steps? So I'm going to go and see how I do in this scan, and I will send results in part 2 on where I am. Now, additionally to this DEXA scan, I'm going to be doing a VO testing. And what that is that it's the maximum rate of oxygen consumption during incremental exercise. Now, I'm not a big crazy exerciser because I used to have a back injury and I never really exercised very strenuous like I used to. But the V stands for volume, the O2 stands for oxygen, and the max means that you're at your maximum rate of oxygen consumption during aerobic exercise. So what this is going to do for me is going to give me a gauge of what my aerobic power is, what's my body's ability to get through that exercise, and how long can I last with my oxygen that I'm able to consume, or is there an irregularity there? What this does, it lets me know what my cardiovascular and my lungs, my respiratory system is doing in the fitness, and has it been improved, or do I have some irregularities? Do I have endurance or do I not? I would say I'm maybe probably average. I'm not an elite athlete. I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not even really athletic, not like I used to be. So I really kind of would like to know where I stand, and do I have any sort of endurance, or am I really, really struggling? I did have a series of asthma when I was a kid, and I wonder if that will come up in this as my cardiorespiratory health, and how can I improve it? So as a provider too, and as a functional medicine, integrative functional medicine provider, I really think this is important as a diagnostic tool, because it lets me know, is there an inflammatory process here? Is there something that we can improve in a person's exercise and ability so that they can actually circulate more oxygen throughout the body? What can we do? And then the last test that I'll be doing is a full body scan, to check for fat and visceral fat again. In addition, I'll be doing a RMR, which is RMR and a BMR. So you got the basal metabolic rate, and then you've got the resting metabolic rate. So I'll be doing a resting metabolic rate, which is that I had to fast at least 5 hours before the test. And I will be checking what my actual metabolic rate for my body is. So you may have heard about metabolic basal metabolic rate, which is the minimum number of calories we need for rest. What's our basic essential function? Can we pump the blood through the body, and breathing, digestion, and our body? Like, what's the basics that you need? Very bare minimum. Now, what's your resting metabolic rate? What does that mean? Like at low effort, low walking, eating, going to the bathroom, walking short periods of time, shivering, eating, consuming caffeine, regular things. What does effort is that for you? So think of it even as when someone checks your pulse, and if you or your blood pressure, that bottom number is that resting rate or your resting number. But in this occasion, I'm looking at what's my overall body's use of that effort, and how can it be measured. And the difference between this versus the basal metabolic is that it's the BMR is usually slightly lower, and the RMR is a little bit higher, because you're doing a little bit more functions in your day-to-day. So it's going to try to check to see how I'm doing. And I think the 5-hour fasting is part of that equation. So usually when you're testing a basal metabolic rate, that's usually without a fast. So this one is kind of seeing, how am I doing now? So I will do a part 2 of what my scores are from these tests, and see how it's been, and if there is any improvement. So stay tuned for part 2, and stay tuned for being able to do this test on your own. And maybe if I work with you at some point, I'll send you to one of these centers to get your test done, and we can get a better picture of where you are and where you want to be, and see where your transformative self is. So make sure you find a mindful way each and every day, and have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only, and is not to substitute for professional medical advice. Diagnose or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcast or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.